When Critter passed away, it was really hard for me to get back in the studio. It was hard for me for a couple different reasons. I would show up and here's Alon, and I don't know really how to communicate musically with him yet. And then here's his brother Aaron, which I knew was enormously talented, but I didn't know how to communicate with him when it comes to the recording and the engineering. And it was hard for me to figure that out. But what I did know is that tonally, Aaron and Critter both are similar in the way, the things they like, the way they would affect certain elements or where their ear draws them to when recording instruments. But the other thing I think where Aaron really excels, even beyond Critter, and this is stuff that's taken me a couple years to really grow to admire and to feel a lot of comfort with Aaron, is he's really loves the stuff that Critter and I were always referencing, kind of from the 80s and late 70s. We would try and use different things for inspiration, but Aaron not only loves a lot of stuff but also loves a lot of the modern stuff too that's happening now, and he knows how to grab from that and apply it, which is something I never really had with Critter. It's kind of a different skill set because Critter was older than me, so obviously the things that he was really into was from a different time. Aaron kind of brings all those things and also brings relevance, and that really worked. But I think even more than that, Critter or Aaron was a really good translator, between Alon and myself, because they're brothers. So Aaron really knows where Alon's coming from, and I think Aaron also can really understand where I'm coming from, just by nature of the way he is. But he's right over there, so I don't want to say too many good things about him. He's hiding in the shadows, but there it goes. But in any case, yeah.
I'd only met when I was telling you earlier about when I'd come to meet Matt and David that first time, that initial meeting. I met Critter then, but that was the only time I'd ever met him, but he seemed like a very nice guy, and he was mixing Saturday Love, I think, for Love 2.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I only met him once, but he seemed to be a very, very nice guy.
Critter was my writing partner. I mean, he didn't play instruments, but he was my partner on all that stuff. But the transition has been awesome. It's been awesome. I think what we accomplished in the past 24 months is what bands usually take a decade to accomplish, as far as jump-starting, a writing process and getting into the thick of things and understanding a whole new identity and a whole new palette of what's possible. And it's exciting. We can very easily go back and write a song like The Adventure if we chose to do that. And I think a lot of people are sitting there and kind of go, "Oh, where's the old Angels and Airwaves?" Go, it's still here. I mean, that would be the easiest thing we could do. I think the hardest thing we can do is to not lose some of that but discover a completely new palette of textures and landscapes to use and to draw from, and that's what's exciting about this. So I don't think people need to worry about. I think we will go back and revisit those sounds once they've been gone for a little bit and it feels fresh again.
Plus, people haven't listened to 70% of the album.
I know, it's true.
So
yeah.
I'm sure a lot of the elements that they have been missing will go, oh wait, there is some of
There
that
is.
there.
Yeah.
But it's hard to. First of all, it's hard to gauge the sound of an entire album off of 3 songs, especially when the point was diversity.
Yeah.
But when you hear everything in context and hear the way everything plays off of everything else, I think the idea of what we were going for and what we accomplished will be a lot more obvious.
Well, it's there. I think, when you listen to Tunnels, when you listen to The Disease, what did we end up calling the first song? Was it The Mercenary or Mercenaries?
I still don't know.
I don't even know.
After mastering, I said...
Well, we had a working title for that one too. It was called, we had it as Crescendo because the song before...
Was that Teenagers and Rituals?
Oh, is that what we went to?
I think so, but I...
Oh, because the Avenger... Okay, shit, I'm getting all... This is the problem. We changed a bunch of titles at mastering. Teenagers and Rituals, the first song on the record, is like it sounds very Angels and Airwaves, but with a much more evolved foundation. You know, it's all the same types of atmospherics, but done in a different type of way that's more angsty and more grounded, and with a more kind of adult form. And that's what I think people need to listen to. It's like Alon said, there's a lot on the record where you'll say, okay, you know, but we purposefully released songs that weren't like our old stuff. That was absolutely our reasoning for releasing those songs first. So it's to be expected the way people are reacting and talking, and that's all we wanted. Wow, that's a really good question. It's those records in the past, I was so involved on having, you know, the primary source of media was the album, you know, and then the movie came and we made the second part of Love with it, and we were working off pieces of the score and expanding and got these songs, but you know, on this project we have so many different types of media that are, you know, from the novels and comics and working on the feature film and all this stuff. I wasn't so beholden to one idea on the record, at least lyrically. The thing to take from this project is there's two things. First, the record, I wasn't going to be so trapped in a box and say every song needs to be about dreams, you know, because this whole project is about dreams. I wanted the songs to be, you know, identifiably are identifiable with a culture, you know, the type of people we are, where we come from, the type of music we like, the type of people we hang out with, or whatever, you know. So Angels and Airwaves, there is a bit of a tribe of where this band comes from. That was one approach on some of the songs. Bullets in the Wind, I've referenced that, you know, where it sounds like it's kind of a post-punk, kind of, it's got 80s influences, it's speaking about rock and roll, you know, it's referencing a time where rock and roll was held and elevated to a higher point than it is today. But the other thing is with dreams in general, the takeaway from the concept of Poet Anderson was the idea, really, that, you know, if you could be a bit of a dreamer and you can make your life what you want, you don't have to be so literal. I think a lot of people are gotta go to school, gotta get a job, and this is how it works. But the reality is I think there's a bit of a spiritualist movement that's happening with young adults, and I think it's relevant to this, where if you can envision something, you can create that kind of experience for yourself. And that to me is really what dreams are. And lucid dreaming and spending half of your life asleep is there's like completely different physics in that. You know, half of your life is spent in this world where anything is possible, but that is part of your life. It's not part of your life just because you're sleeping. That's part of human experience. So to me, playing with the idea of bringing some of those principles to your daily life is really interesting, you know. So I like the idea. I saw all the people that tattooed love on them, which is really cool because that's about connection, you know, human connection. People that tattoo the word poet on them would be more about they're a dreamer, you know, somebody that's going to do something interesting with their existence, and that would be what I'm thinking. Whether or not it translates, we'll see.